You, Mr. Chairman, thank you for holding this hearing. Can you talk a little bit about ghost fishing and the effect from the fishing industry and what the steps are that can be taken to reduce the likelihood of derelict fishing gear?
Yeah, I mean, ghost fishing is a term that's used for the take of fish or shellfish after fishing equipment is either abandoned intentionally or somehow gets washed overboard. And it's very significant. I think that it's localized, and so for me to quantify it for you would be geographic specific and perhaps more than I can do. But whether it's lobster traps or crab traps or fishing nets, it continues to fish, 24/7 for years and years on, and the amount of marine life that it takes from the sea is very significant.
Okay, and how does that ultimately then affect the fishing industry from your perspective? Especially especially the derelict.
Yeah, every fish
fishing
or
gear
shellfish that's caught by derelict fishing equipment is a fish that isn't caught and profit not returned to a commercial fisherman, and is part of the allowable catch for those. So, I mean, it's a significant resource that is basically being wasted, where it's not, there's no return for the fisherman. It's simply a waste of a resource, and I think it's a great example of a type of marine debris that doesn't pop into people's mind. They think of, the sea turtle with the six-pack, or the plastic bag they've ingested, or the cigarette lighter and the albatross, and they don't think about these derelict fishing gear out there continuing to take and waste shellfish and fish for years and years.
Okay, and a few years ago, watermen in the Chesapeake Bay region were paid to clean up derelict crab pots. Is there an opportunity to engage the fishing industry in cleaning up debris to improve the health of fisheries which they depend upon?
Well, absolutely. I think watermen in Chesapeake Bay and people that fish for a living throughout the country oftentimes are amongst the most knowledgeable people about those marine ecosystems. Obviously, there's a cost to that, and it's something that I think that we need to look to find effective partnerships. I think some of the people that'll follow me will talk about how some of the various organizations out there are at the heart of some of those partnerships, and certainly government agencies can help facilitate that as well.
And in your testimony, you discussed successful marine debris educational outreach programs. Could you describe what one of those programs might look like?
I loved the example I used earlier of the Pribilof Islands, because it's this remote place with people whose whole life and tradition is tied to the sea, and they know and they're responsible for, and with a little facilitation and explanation, go out there and get the derelict fishing nets out of those fur seal rookeries, some of the most important fur seal places in the world. And that's at one end of the spectrum, and we can go right to a Rhode Island beach where we get school kids out there helping, perhaps not removing tons of things. Our YCC crew in Kodiak, maybe 15,000 pounds isn't going to change the world, but they learn about the issue. They become engaged conservationists. They care, and they can help spread that message of prevention and reuse and recycle to others in their communities.
Yeah, so thank you for helping to focus us upon these issues. We're just now at the 5th anniversary of the disaster which the tsunami caused at Fukushima, and the amount of man-made debris that went into the ocean and traveled 4,000 miles, still traveling. Yes, and so your ability to help us to focus upon this rising phenomenon of man-made debris in the ocean is just so important. So we thank you for that.
Thank you, Senator.
Appreciate it.